What's up, everybody? My name is Joe Riga, and you're about to listen to the very first episode of the Third Floor Chronicles, which was recorded Sunday, March 13th at the Tampa Improv. For the first interview, I had a chance to sit down with Matt Braunger, who's a real funny guy, so check it out.
There's nothing like watching a bunch of Teamsters building a set.
Yeah.
Based on something you wrote.
Well, do they have like a budget for each set they do? Like when you have an idea, they go, well, make it cheaper, or like make that, can you make your idea a little less expensive?
You kind of know what to deal with. You're not like, oh, then animatronic dragon shows up. You know, you're not going to be that crazy.
We need George Clooney for this next bit.
We have to have Tom Hanks.
That's awesome.
Not someone pretending to be him.
How often did you work during the week? Like what was the weekly schedule for a Mad TV cast member?
Boy, it was about 4 or 5 days a week. It was really loose though. Like sometimes you'd come in, they'd only need you for a couple hours. And you'd leave,
okay.
Yeah.
Are they cool about you like having other gigs outside? Did you have to check in?
Oh sure, yeah. I mean, and especially once the season was done, you kind of we got canceled. So I guess that'd be a different thing.
Well, that was the last season, right?
It was
2008, 2009. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How do you find that out? Do they just give you guys a call? Do you get a letter?
I found out my day off.
Oh.
My friend Eric, who was also in the cast, called me and was like, "Yeah, they just called us into an office, said we got canceled." I was like, "Oh," and I regretted not being there. But then again, it's probably better I wasn't at work that day.
How does that work? Do they pay you per episode? If they cancel you
per episode?
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So after that, no more Mad TV paycheck?
Nope.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, nope.
So everyone freaks out and oh man.
Yeah.
So what was the next thing you did after that?
Boy, I did just did a bunch of stand up and just did a couple guest spots on shows. Like I was on United States of Terra, and I did Blue Mountain State. I did my half-hour special with Comedy Central, and I did the mashup that just came out this past Friday.
How instantly did you see the crowds change when you had that Mad TV credit as before?
Not much. Because people, generally speaking, people just go to comedy clubs just to go. True. It's like unless you're playing big theaters, nobody really knows who you are. Generally speaking, you know what I mean. It was almost the same thing with Mad TV. People just watch it. They don't necessarily go, "Oh, I gotta see that person," unless you've been on it a long time. And I was on for half a season, literally.
Yeah.
So
that's cool, man.
Yeah.
How long do you see yourself on the road? Do you want to do that as a career?
I like to mix it up a little bit. I just did I'm working on finishing a pilot for Comedy Central. So if that gets picked up,
with someone from The Office, right?
Yeah, Brent Forrester, who's one of the writers and producers.
Is that your first pilot? That's.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, second. I did a game show pilot for them like 2 years ago, I believe, or a year ago.
Explain to the listeners, how does that work? How do you even get? Do you have an agent that submits your idea? How does that work?
Well, for the first one, they asked me to do it, and so I was put in as the host.
That's got to be a pretty awesome.
It was cool,
right? They come to you asking you to write a pilot.
It was neat. And then for this one, they wanted to know what my pilot would be if I were to write one. So I got someone who was very experienced in television writing to work with me, and then we wrote it together, and then it got.
Is that something you do because you're friends, or you say, "Hey, I got something I think you'd be awesome for"?
Yeah, it was more that I respected his work a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. So and we've become friends since.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So how long has that been going on for? The pilot?
That's about 5 months now. So.
How does that work? When do they tell you if it becomes an actual show? Like how long does it work?
God knows. I mean, we're gonna give it to them. Probably next week, and then they'll edit it a couple times, and then
stressful.
Then it'll be
imagining
a little bit. I just want it to be given to them and be like, let us know.
When you show it to them, are you there with them? Is it something they take on their own? Are you guys all together?
I don't. They're gonna look at it by themselves.
Got it.
Yeah, without us in the room.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's been the coolest celebrity thing you've gone through so far in your journey in comedy? That's what everyone wants to know.
Being on Letterman. Being on Letterman and sitting on the couch with him and making him laugh.
How was the in between commercials and stuff like that? Was he cool? Was he just kind of?
Oh, he's great. He's very private. When they're like, that's it, he'll just go to his dressing room and you got to sit there, and then they're like, okay, you can move now.
Yeah.
He doesn't want anyone coming up to him.
Well, no matter what you do, or no matter how much you know about comedy, you could say different festivals or different shows. If you say you've been on Letterman or Leno, everyone can identify with that. So as a comic, that must just feel awesome to know. You got that stamp.
Yeah, that was cool.
Comedy resume.
That was very cool.
How do you find out about that? How far in advance do you find out about a Letterman gig as a comic?
You get approved, and then it's all about the booker reminding the producers who you are and to put you on the show, especially for that show because they don't have a lot of comedians on.
Well, when you had your Letterman appearance, how how much preparation did you do just for that set? Obviously, you've done a comedy more than 5 minutes, but how did you focus on just a 5-minute set for something?
You submit it, and they approve your jokes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then do you work that a little bit more before you do Letterman?
Oh, sure. You do it as often as you can. Yeah, cool. Yeah, totally.
How many are you, when you're not on the road, are you doing stand-up in LA?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Almost as often as I can, pretty much.
Nice.
Whenever people ask me to do shows, I'll do
Got a
them.
family?
Not immediate, nah.
Awesome. That's obviously helping the
yeah, sadly. Right.
Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions from some listeners that submitted them?
Of course,
online?
of course.
Awesome. Cool. First question we got here. Bear me 1 second. This one's from Danny Bianchi in Tampa. He wants to know, what was it like working with Bobby Lee?
Yeah, it's hilarious. He doesn't have a problem about taking his genitals out wherever he is, especially even if you're eating a sandwich. He was a lot of fun, and he always made it a good time coming into work. Bobby's great. Bobby's great. Yeah.
Are you still cool with a lot of the cast members that you work with?
All of them.
Yeah?
Yeah, I just, Arden Marine was just in my pilot.
Awesome.
And Eric Price and I are great friends, and Nicole I see from time to time. I saw her when she finished, she was on Broadway in Wicked.
Awesome.
And so I saw her when she came
out. Wicked was just here like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, was it? Cool.
Awesome. Another question.
Sure.
This one's from Randy Holton in Tampa. You released your comedy album "Soak Up the Night" on vinyl.
Right.
He wants to know: are you just a huge vinyl fan?
Yeah,
awesome.
That's pretty much it. I mean, it was a digital release, and then Comedy Central was like, "Would you like us to press up, say, like 1,000 copies?"
Oh, so that was their idea.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, the guy who runs Comedy Central Records used to run punk rock labels, so he's a huge vinyl guy. Anyway.
What kind of music you listen to right now?
Right now, all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, everything from Deer Hunter to Wiz Khalifa to old time stuff, everything in between.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. All right, one more question.
Sure.
This one is from Greg in Tampa. You mentioned dive bars in your act. What is the weirdest gig you've ever had on the road?
Oh, without a doubt, I went on something I called my log jamming tour, where I was doing little bars throughout the state of Oregon. And I played a tree farmer bar where it was 9 people, and 8 men and one woman, and my dad. And I did an hour, and that was just the craziest, the longest set I've done for the smallest crowd ever. And it actually was fun, and they had me like sign up my headshot and framed it and put it on the wall. So there's a bar deep in the woods of Oregon that has my face on the wall.
Your dad was there. How quickly did you let your parents watch you perform stand-up?
Oh, I'd been doing it a couple years in Chicago before they saw me, yeah.
Were they kind of bugging you before you let them watch you?
They'd always, I was always a ham. They saw me in school plays growing up.
They were tired of you.
Yeah, they've had it. They're done.
Actually, one more. What is your favorite impression, Gandy from St. Pete, that you do? Favorite impression that you do?
That I do? Jesus, wow.
Or maybe one that you like to work the most on stage.
I do a creepy voice a lot, where it's like a guy who doesn't know how creepy he's being.
Any inspiration for that voice?
Anything from various uncles of mine to drunk people you'll just meet and see in bars.
Remember you do a Charlie Sheen impression?
I did it once. People are saying that, but I did it once on Mad TV because as Bobby Lee was my
Have you brought
prostitute
it out yet since all
girlfriend.
The drama with Charlie
No,
Sheen?
no, because I wasn't that good. I'm not that good of an impressionist at all.
Got it.
I don't think. It was one. That's the thing. Me and Eric Price we were the 2 white males on the whole cast. So we got rotated in a lot. We had to do a lot of. I was John Mayer at one point. Like, come on. Please.
I take it you're not a John Mayer fan?
I don't have a problem with him, but I look nothing like the guy. Nothing.
Speaking of that, any celebrities ever seen you perform live that you weren't aware about, so you got on stage and maybe made some eye contact?
I opened for Aziz Ansari when he did his DVD taping, and I found out Natalie Portman was in the audience.
Ah, nice.
And the guy was like, "Yeah, she was cracking up." That held me for a while.
Yeah, that
was nice.
Feeling.
That was nice.
Every comic wants to know, when was the last time you bombed?
I bomb throughout my set all the time. No, I mean, it's like, the thing is, especially now, I'm always trying to try out new shit. Pardon me, sorry to curse. But so it's like, you'll try stuff out and it just will fall flat and you just play it off and you keep going. It's
that's how you build strong comics.
Yeah,
bombing and trying all the new stuff. How much, when you're touring and you're headlining, how much new stuff do you work into all the stuff that, obviously works out good?
I try to make it half. I don't get it all the time.
Got it.
But, it's just, I don't want to lean on my stuff that generally always works as a crutch.
Got it.
You know, so I try to work in as much as I can.
Let's see, you're here Thursday through Sunday, right?
Tonight's the last night, yeah.
So 6 shows?
Yep.
You switching up the order between any of the shows? Or
Yeah, I generally do the same opener and closer, but in between it's anyone's.
Have you done any 3-show nights recently?
Not since Chicago.
Show?
There's a set. There's a place called Zany's, and it's very small. Yeah. So Chicago, they have to have 3 shows on Saturday, and it's when you're done with that 3rd show. Man,
I can imagine on the 3rd show you might forget. Did I do this?
Yeah, I do. I do all the time. You're like, did I do this bit?
Oh man,
I don't know.
How do you feel about comics bringing notebooks, paper on stage?
I don't have a problem with it. I'll bring little notes sometimes if there's a joke. Like I've been bringing up a couple notes on stage, like. You know, I like written on a napkin just because I keep forgetting to do this new stuff. You
rather have a napkin than forget the joke.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I'll just do something I've always done. You know, so it's like yeah.
Have the Bluetooths and the headphones invaded LA? Or is it still with the open micers maybe walking on stage with headphones or
I've never seen that.
It's pretty bad. I'm starting to see it now.
Why do they do that?
I don't know. Like they don't take it out. They leave it on their ear.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's pretty distracting. I don't know. Well, who do you enjoy right now? Who current comics that are on the road, on TV, who do you enjoy right now?
Oh, Patton Oswalt, Kyle Kinane, one of my best friends. Obviously, the bigger ones would be like Chris Rock and Brian Regan.
Coolest comic you work with?
I always love working with Maria Bamford.
She's amazing. She was here recently too.
Yeah,
she's awesome.
She's one of the best alive, and but just the people I came up with in Chicago.
We'll get you out of here on an easy question. Who was your inspiration coming up as a comic?
George Carlin. George Carlin and Lenny Bruce. Even though Lenny Bruce is way before my time, I don't know how I got into him, but
Did you get the book, the Lenny Bruce book?
Yeah, I had Talk Dirty and Influence People. Yeah. Cool. But my parents had Class Clown, and I wore that album out as a kid.
So did they introduce you to comedy in a way?
In a way. Yeah. Oh yeah. They're both really funny people too.
Cool.
So.
Yeah. Cool, man. I bet they take credit when they introduce their son. I bet they take a little.
My mom does.
Cool. Well, it was nice talking to you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Nice to meet you, buddy.
Thanks for coming out.
You got it.